This is Jason from Horrific Nightmares. Today I figured I would do another installment of my horror story. Um, Today I'm going to be focusing on The Last Shark, or as it was called when I went to see it back in the day, Great White. Now this is a movie that has had quite a bit of controversy. I guess I'll start in the beginning. I remember seeing the commercials for this, and I really wanted to see it because shark movies are kind of my thing as well. Seems like I have a lot of things, but I've always loved shark movies like Jaws and movies like that, and even the new Sharknado movies. They're silly, but they're fun. But I begged my father to take me to see this movie, and it wasn't called The Last Shark then; it was called Great White. But if I do remember correctly, I do believe this was the original poster for it. So my father reluctantly, because he didn't want to see it, of course, took me to see it. And we actually saw two movies that day. We saw this one first, and of course, my father didn't like it at all. And I was kind of on the fence about it. But after that, we went to see Clash of the Titans with Harry Hamlin and Burgess Meredith in a theater that is actually, I don't even know if it's there anymore. It was around here, it was called Westview. They were like one of the biggest theaters around. So the point of this story is that they pulled it actually after that first weekend. And I remember hearing stories. I don't exactly remember if they were before or after, or maybe even before and after, but it was pulled out of the theaters that same weekend because Universal and Steven Spielberg threatened to sue. Of course, I didn't know this until years later. I heard that he was going to sue the company and blah 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 blah. I didn't really care. I'd seen the movie and that's all that really mattered. So when I got into computers in the late 90s, early 2000s, I would always search for this movie. No one had any information on it. It's like, I wonder whatever happened with that, if it ever got a release or if there's bootlegs of it around. Back then it was VHS, of course, but so as I was doing research, couldn't find anything on it. You look up IMDb. Of course, it's on there now. Don't believe it was on there back then. And if it was under The Last Shark, which I didn't know it had been changed to that title. Fast forward about 5 years later, always doing research to find out what happened with the film, if there was any way I could see it, because of course it had been a long time. I was 10 years old, I think. Um, so I believe it was when I first got into YouTube that I was able to watch the film. I'm not sure if it's still on there. It probably is. And there is an actual company that did this DVD. It is now out of print, and it has a different cover for it. And I cannot remember the name of the company that did that. But this I ended up buying from Target during a sale. Um, this is an actual DVD. It's a DVD-R. It is burn on demand, which I don't normally like to have, but with this movie I kind of made an exception. It is not a great film, but as I watched it on YouTube, kind of reliving my childhood, my past, finally getting to see the movie again, getting to see the trailer and everything like that, kind of brought me back to that time frame. Like I said, it's not a very good movie. I can see why they got sued. It's kind of more of a mix of Jaws and Jaws 2, mostly Jaws 2. Um, but yeah, that's just it's a very, very blatant ripoff. And it's funny the types of stuff that they used to put in the movie theaters back then. Some of the slasher films, of course, aren't very good. Like Don't Go Into the Woods Alone. I do like it, but it's not a very good film. and that, you know, it was in the movie theaters back then. But it was neat to finally buy this and have it in my collection because, like I said, I kind of obsessed on it and, you know, wanted to know more about the film, what had actually happened. Um, you know, now, of course, there's tons of stuff on it on the internet and, you know, wherever you look it up. There may have been back then. I just wasn't that good at using the computer. Still not, but, you know, whatever. But, you know, it's a cool flick. I would recommend it that if you can get it cheap enough. Like I said, I think Target was having a sale. It was like buy two get one free or something. So I bought this just to have it in my collection because it's, like I said, it's not a very good film. The shark is kind of laughable in spots. You know, it looks very fake. If you can see from these pictures down here, you may not be able to see it that well, but anyway, that's kind of my horror story. I always wanted to do something on this because this was a movie I kind of obsessed over for years and wanted to see again. And, you know, was able to see it and now finally have it in my collection. So, you know, that's my horror story and I'm sticking to it. For The Last Shark, 1981. Now, have you seen this? Actually, the better question would be, have you seen it in a theater? Because I don't think many people did. Like I said, it was pulled almost right away because they were being sued. But love to hear your comments on it. I know that there are a few other people that have shown this in their collection. I know Moods 616 showed it. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else I can think of offhand. But you know, he loves shark films. I also love shark films. It was always one of my things. But yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts on it. So if you like what you see and hear, hit that like button and subscribe. But until next time, peace.